Before we get started, I want to go ahead and say this really quick. If you watched the video I did on Nolaro, which by the way will be in the description box, you probably heard me say track record. Well, I think that word may have been a little bit redundant, and obviously I got made fun of for it. But of course, I'm going to try to avoid that. But I'm pretty sure you guys already know where I'm going with this before we start. But still, though, make sure you guys stick around for the full piece because we got a lot to discuss. There are a lot of people asking a lot of questions about this conversion right here. And let me just go ahead and say this really quick. This channel right here, once again, is not a religious-based channel, even though I am religious. However, I wanted to do a video on this because, quite frankly, I would feel like a complete, total hypocrite if I didn't, especially given the fact that I've talked about a few incidents involving Mr. Brand, and also at the exact same time, I did do a video recently on an OnlyFans star who got saved, became a Christian, and supposedly has left the life, even though, of course, we talked about the social media presence in that video there. I'll link it in the description box for you guys. But we need to talk about this. And also one more thing needs to be said before I go any further. This video right here will contain, actually it's two things, I apologize, will contain a couple of updates at the very, very end because I have kind of come to a realization on something. And of course, we're going to go ahead and put that to effect now for the exception of Wednesday, but I'll explain that when I get there. But also one more thing needs to be said. This right here is not a video to discuss the differences between Christianity and Catholicism or anything like that, the God debate, anything like that at all, because quite frankly, I don't think it actually matters in this discussion. But still, though, at the same time, given the source material, given the reactions, I think it's time we explain why people feel this way, but we also need to ask the question of whether this right here is just some grift or if it's real or what. But still, at the same time, though, it's going to be a relatively lengthy one, so make sure you guys stick around for the full piece, and let's talk about
Brown was baptized last week, and people are pretty upset. Here's why. So if you've been following Brand for a while, then you know that he's always had a keen interest in all religions, and only more recently he's been narrowing down on Christianity.
I'm just do what I'm doing. I love you so much. I'm so grateful to be surrendered in Christ. See you all soon. I'm doing the show a little later.
Quantum physics, all of that exists within your individual awareness. That is anticipated in all of the great ideologies. In Islam, in Christianity, in Buddhism, they tell you this. It's an illusion, but you have to participate as if it is real. You have to find the beauty in it.
First 15 seconds came from a channel called What Do You Mean? The video will be left in the description box. There's also another bit coming out here. I think that's a very good channel, and I think the guy had a pretty good take on this, and also it may telegraph the take that I'm about to give now, but still at the same time, though, I think there's a lot more to this, and I think a lot of people are looking at what's going on, like, for example, Brand's appearance on the Andrew Schultz podcast, talking about inner reality, stuff like that there, or, of course, there's also this one that he posted to his Instagram where he basically talked about everything after the baptism, which of course you guys are seeing. It's roughly a minute long in the cutaway footage. But he also, in that same exact one, kind of gave things away. But we'll get to that here in a second. And it makes a thing. I put it this way here. It makes the entire situation make a lot of sense when you actually think about it, given what we're going to be talking about in this video here. But there was also another one where he talked about realities once again. And of course, he went on and talked to Jordan Peterson. And of course, he's also not only talked to Jordan Peterson, but of course, he's got people like, say, David Icke, of all people, the guy who, and I'm not saying this to make fun of David Icke, but he's got this very, very odd take out there that I, as a prophecy guy who does not share Bible prophecy on this channel, kind of finds a little bit weird. Even though that right there is what I've said so far, it's obviously time that we have a discussion about this. It's a video I've been working on for a while, but of course, there was one point that was put in the talking points of this video that I put in there late that I want to go ahead and discuss now, and that right there is something that was heavily hinted at by another YouTuber who I listen to from time to time, even though I don't fully agree with what he's got to say, but he made a very good point. We're becoming much, much more tribalistic, okay? And as we become much, much more tribalistic, something happens. We tend to start adopting the behaviors of others that we are near. Of course, we're becoming much, much more tribalistic amongst the left and, of course, amongst the right. And, of course, as you may already know, a lot of people on the left, a lot of left-wing influencers profess that they are atheists. So the natural inclination would be that a lot of content creators on the right would profess their Christianity or their Catholicism. I've always thought this argument to not be the most accurate argument in the world or the most accurate way of looking at things, especially given some people's personalities and given some of their actual beliefs. I'm going to go ahead and go through a few of these as an example. There are content creators out there on the right, and of course, me being a content creator on the right, who are actually atheists. There are a few out there. I don't agree with their take on religion or whatnot, but still at the same time, I'm not going to name who they are, but I'm pretty sure if you're subscribed to this channel here, you may be subscribed to their channel over there. You've also got some content creators out there who, quite frankly, have beliefs that do, in fact, go against the left. I mean, my God, every time I do an Anna Kasparian video where she denounces something that the left did or she has some form of red-pilling moment, she gets absolutely destroyed by her own side. Just saying. This right here is not a channel where we talk about Hollywood very often, but apparently Justin Bieber is a Christian too. I don't know what Bieber's political affiliation is. I'm not going to go into that, but I did read an article one time where he did say that he was actually very, very much against abortion. Martin Sheen is very, very much a liberal and very, very much a guy who will disagree with me when it comes to the topic of politics. But believe it or not, he's actually pro-life. The reason for him being pro-life is because his wife was actually the result of I'll just let you guys fill in the blank because of YouTube's terms and services. Jack Nicholson is also a man on the left, another Hollywood celebrity, Hollywood royalty even. And of course, he is actually, believe it or not, pro-life. He's also a man who's lost his faith. If you actually read into the man, I pray that the man gets his faith back. I'm just saying that there are obviously some people out there who've got their own little beliefs that don't exactly, or maybe they run contrary to their politics. And as many of you guys may already know, Russell Brand is very, very much a man of the left. He's been through a rebrand, and I think that the video that Moon did on the rebrand of Russell Brand, which, by the way, some of that will be playing in the B-roll footage, is actually a very good video and very, very good study on the man himself, going all the way back to his days as a VJ, going back to the drugs, going back to all the harmful things he did to himself and others, the sexcapades, the film, of course, the films he starred in. Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I think, is the one that mostly pops up in my mind because I remember it playing on FX constantly, and I was out of work for a bit, and that film, while I was looking for jobs, was always playing in the background. I always found that movie to be absolutely hilarious. Then, of course, after the death of Amy Winehouse, he decided to get involved, of course, in helping people get sober. The way Russell Brand come off with everything, the comedy, all that type of stuff there, and then, of course, there was also Occupy Wall Street, rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. This where it also didn't help matters that the day after September the 11th, he shows up on television dressed up like Osama bin Laden. I'm just simply saying that the man is obviously controversial. I've done some videos on him recently defending him in certain aspects and even praising him in certain aspects, even though I know this is a guy who, for the most part, doesn't agree with my takes on things. It just goes to show you that even if we do disagree on something, we can obviously come somewhere in the middle and I can still defend you. If you're genuinely a good person. If you're a completely horrible person, I'm sorry. If I can't find a way to defend you over something, then I'm sorry. It's just the way that I am. It's the way that I operate. Now, I mean, it's something that, quite frankly, I've got to work on as a man to become a little bit more forgiving. But forgiveness is another topic altogether. The point is this right here. Obviously, Russell Brand does have a past. He obviously has a past that would make people question whether the man's Christianity or his conversion was actually real. But then we go back to the past, and some of the things that we see include things like this.
I thought it would be good to be rich and famous. It would be good to be the opposite of this. It would be good to have stuff. It'd be good to have money. It'd be good to be invited to the party. Well, I've been invited. I've been in. We're having this chat in a private Swish members club in East London. It's super cool. There's bare brick walls. Everyone's double good looking. But I've been inside now. I've seen the other side of the looking glass. It ain't fucking worth it. It's not good. Don't feed your soul. I still feel...
That right there was taken from that Moon video. Like I said, that video right there, if I reference the video, it will be in the description box for you guys to see. And by the way, I don't agree with everything that Moon says, but his content's pretty daggone good. It's actually very good. I advise you guys to go check it out. I wish I could edit that good. The thing is this right here, though, about Russell Brand. The guy obviously has been in and out. And, of course, not only has he been in and out, but he's been through the ringer. He's done a lot of drugs. He's done a lot of things in his past, a lot of things that, quite frankly, you might would consider nefarious. So when someone like David Icke suddenly pops up and then out of the middle of nowhere questions whether his conversion is legitimate, as you guys will see here, because Brand obviously responded to this, it would not catch people. Let's just say that you would not be surprised to question whether the man does, in fact, actually believe in God, or if the man's conversion was real, or if it was just another grift. Let me roll this.
As has Eva Vladingerbrook and Jordan Peterson's wife, while Russell Brand does the rosary. What is happening to the MAM? I think David means mainstream alternative media. They talk about freedom of speech and convert to a church with a long, long history of mass murder for the crime of having a different opinion. Extraordinary. Something's going on and it's not good. I feel that what David Icke is saying is interesting, but I feel that the people that I've spoken to within the church are well aware of the church's history, and I believe that what we're talking about there is not a set of spiritual values, but the utility that tends to exist when you have an exploitable institution. Some people kill in the name of secularism, some people kill in the name of nation, some people kill in the name of Christianity, some people kill in the name of Islam, some people kill because of my sort of age and background and education. When I heard that in Burma, people were killing in the name of Buddhism, I was like, what? That doesn't make sense. Buddhism's all about peace. But so's Christianity, so's Islam. All of them explicitly say you definitely shouldn't kill anyone. Like every single religion says, you know, we're all the same. There's some unity among us. Obviously, how could I not be being reductive? But find common ground. We're all one.
The topic was about religions and death and, of course, certain churches and certain pasts. Let me just go ahead and say this really quick, because we're going to be talking a lot about this on my channel, Gear Issue 33, where I do these military film reviews, especially when we start getting into historical things. The 20th century was riddled with death, okay? The 19th century was riddled with death. It seems to me like every single century since, I don't know, I would say since the 1st century AD, or maybe even back 4th, 5th century BC, it seems to me that we've got a lot of death in our history. I think that death has been spurned by a lot of different organizations, and none of them are actually correct. I'm the type of person that likes to say, look, you know, maybe we should base this right here based on the individual. It's that type of stuff there. And of course, you know, Ike, you know, being who he is, obviously questioned the intentions. Another person who really and truly went out of their way to question the intentions of Russell Brand back when Brand was going through his political stage, or started his political stage, was Peter Hitchens. You may have even seen some of that in the B-roll footage that I shared, okay? And, of course, those discussions and those debates, quite frankly, were absolutely insane. He even had an exchange with Nigel Farage about the same exact issue, I think right around the time that Brexit was put up for a vote. The fact is this right here. The man has gone from, let's put it this way here. The man has gone from somebody who was obviously high, drunk, out of his mind, obviously oversexed. Obviously, the guy's got a lot of people, a lot of accusers. We talked about this right in a previous video. And, of course, I came out and said that, look, I think the document, which, by the way, we haven't really heard anything from that BBC documentary. Nobody's actually came out. This guy's probably got a lot of people out there who are going to throw things at him. But when you actually look into the evidence, it seems to me like this is just good old-fashioned Me Too stuff that got brought up out of the middle of nowhere to damage a man's character. So yes, obviously there are people out there who are going to question whether Russell Brand is once again just doing a grift. What I will say about Brand is this right here, is that since about 2020, he's been pivoting more from the left-wing side of politics. He's been pivoting much, much more, and probably since before that there, more towards pure truth-seeking. A lot of people got jumped on me when I said that Jimmy Dore was going in the exact same direction, and that had not fully happened because Dore is obviously still very, very much a commie. But you're going to be hearing in another video that I'll be having on Wednesday over this gag order, Shapiro, and of course also Nick Fuentes being unbanned on X finally, or being reinstated. We're going to be having a conversation, of course, about certain journalists that you can and cannot trust, because one of the journalists that obviously reported that story or decided to write an article on that was Glenn Greenwald. Now, you probably think that Glenn Greenwald has made a bit of a turnaround, but before you go saying that there, remember, a lot of these people have been known to eat one another. So, therefore, I cannot say that these people are or are not what they claim to be nowadays, which kind of leads me to the next point. So, instead of saying track record, I'm just going to be saying make the man earn your trust. Make the man literally earn your trust. Now, whether his conversion is real or not, that right there is the thing that people are actually questioning. And of course, there were people who obviously melted down over this.
Didn't sit well with lots of non-Christians who said things like, you got baptized, so you are now in the cult of the delusional who think that if they prayed to a sky daddy, all your problems will be solved. You had everything you needed from the start. You are capable of anything without an imaginary friend. I'm disappointed in you because I thought you were an intelligent man, but now I don't know what to think. The religious high will wear off eventually, just like the drug highs. He just hasn't experienced that part yet. How did this religiosity happen? It used to be so free-thinking and open-minded. Christianity is the opposite. I was brought up a Catholic, and I don't wish to hear anything resembling Christianity. Why, Russell, why? Stop that religious nonsense and do what you do best. Ugh, for someone who constantly seeks the truth, Christianity is the worst place to find it. There is no God. It's all nonsense. Good luck basing your whole life on a book of fiction. Of all the same things he believes and preaches, I'm shocked he's into religion. It saddens me that you are taking part and soon will be unforgiving. 50 years I've been watching Christians and Muslims. None of them have a forgiving bone in their bodies.
That right there came from the What Do You Meme video. What Do You Meme is also the same guy who got into it with Andrew Tate a while back. I'm pretty sure he's going to pop back up in the video that I got on Wednesday. I said there's going to be some updates at the very, very end because I came to a realization on something about the content. So make sure you guys stick around. We're not changing or anything. We're just going to be making it better. But the point is this right here. Obviously, there are going to be some people out there who are going to question this, and obviously, there are going to be some people who are going to attack him. If you get saved and you become a Christian, guess what? You are going to get attacked. I know this. I've been attacked before myself. I'm not the best Christian in the world. Dude, let me go ahead and say this really quick. I've not done anywhere near the amount of stuff that Russell Brand has done in his life. I'm not going to try to compare anything, nor should you even try to compare. Dude, I wasn't always a good guy or a good person. Hell, I still don't think I am to a certain extent. I am who I am, okay? And obviously, I'm rough around the edges, and I got to make some changes too. But you got people out there basically saying that we pray to a spaghetti monster or stuff in the sky. That right there is probably going to happen because people are going to make fun of you over that. So you're going to have to learn to develop a pretty thick skin. And something you got to understand is this right here. Some people get discouraged by that. And somebody like Russell Brand, for example, who does have a past with alcohol, does have a past with drugs, who, by the way, has been working for a very, very long time through solitude, meditation, all that type of stuff to clean up and fix his life. It's possible that these people could accidentally, maybe not meaning to, send him back into that very, very sinful, let's just say, sinful lifestyle. Well, before I go any further, what I just said in that last clip about sinful lifestyle, that right there will be coming up again at the very, very end of the video. Because obviously there are two more things to get to, including the actual realization on what really happened here. But before I go any further, though, I want to play this next bit here, too, because it's stuff like this right here that makes people think that maybe his conversion was not real.
Actually, opposite that, I'm aware of Sam Harris. I've had that argument with Sam Harris. I'm aware of Ricky Gervais. I've had that argument with Ricky Gervais. I'm aware of Brian Cox. I've had this argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I've had it with a lot of the people that you're sort of probably would mentally reach for. So Richard Dawkins, I've had that argument with him. And what I feel is that the figure of Christ and Christianity itself is about overcoming your tendency towards selfishness and recognizing that you are saved and that you belong to God and that your life's purpose is not about self-fulfillment, it is about service. And that is an incredible challenge, and it's certainly not one that I'm claiming to be doing very well at, but it's certainly that is now my aspiration and that is now my direction. And when I make mistakes, as I inevitably do, and thankfully forgiveness is part of this path, I remember, oh yeah, you're supposed to be going that way. Whereas before, when Christianity wasn't in the picture, I was just like, well, aren't I supposed to just be like getting stuff? Isn't that the religion, the default religion of our time? Isn't that what you're being offered? Whether it's the American dream or your human rights or whatever you're being packaged, you're sort of being told, like if you watch any commercial break now, you'll just see people tipping things into their mouths or gambling or getting stuff. It's hardly avant-garde to say that commercialism and consumerism are the default religions of our time, and that's why all of...
And also to go on top of that, the tarot card thing. Look, in that What Do You Mean video, the guy talks about his beliefs even after he got saved and became a Christian. I'm not going to lie to you. I got saved and became a Christian when I was 7 years old. I got baptized when I was 7 years old. I got saved again when I was a teenager, okay? The minute I got saved and became a Christian 3 days later, after the initial high, guess what I did? I started smoking and crap again. I got saved and became a Christian again when I was in my early 20s. Guess what I did right after that right there? I went to the bar. What I'm saying to you is I was not a good Christian, okay? That's what I was saying to you. I'm not a good Christian, never have been. And you probably think, wow, you're just kind of giving away the game here. That's not what I'm doing. What I'm telling you is that I never really and truly actually took it seriously. That right there is what I'm saying. I felt like I could just do whatever and not be held accountable. Yes, I went through the same phase that a lot of our left-wing friends that I talk about all the time went through in their lives. The only problem is that they're still doing it. I kind of stopped because at some point in time, you got to grow the hell up. Sometime after my father died, and I don't bring up family members very often, I was in my early 30s, okay? It was sometime after that that I began to actually start taking things seriously. Roughly about a year or two before that, I began to go into my prophecy study. Okay, very, very much went into it. And of course, I started to notice some things. And of course, it was a bit of an eye-opening experience because I was kind of trapped in a bubble myself. Opening my mind actually helped me to re-embrace my Christianity, and now I've found a way to give up certain sins, and I'm actually working on improving my life. I've been doing it for a while. You got to work at it, is what I'm trying to say. You actually have to take it serious, and you have to actually work at it. That right there is what I'm trying to tell you. It's not an easy life. You've actually got to work at it. Sometimes you need solitude. Which brings me to my next point. Well, this right here lasts about 1 minute and 33 seconds because in a lot of ways, Russell kind of gives up the game right there at the very, very end.
I got baptized, and it was an incredible, profound experience. And many of you will have had your own experiences of baptism and will therefore know what I'm talking about. Many aspects of it were very intimate and personal. The truth is this: as a person that has in the past taken many, many substances and always been disappointed with their inability to deliver the kind of tranquility and peace and even transcendence that I always felt I've been looking for, something occurred in the process of baptism that was incredible, overwhelming, literally overwhelming, because I was obviously underwater and it was the River Thames at some points. So I felt changed, transitioned. Now, of course, even though it's been less than 24 hours, in the interim period, I've already felt like sort of irritation. I've got 3 children. I've got a job. I've got challenges. I still live in the world. But I feel as if some new resource within me has switched on. So many of your comments have been so beautiful and encouraging, and I really appreciate it. And also even the cynicism, I understand, because some people will just see me as a celebrity. I don't see me as a celebrity because I was me when I was a little boy. I was me when I was a junkie. I was me when I was poor. I've been me in all of the different phases. But I recognize that anything in this terrain, in the sort of social media world, could be exploited and utilized. For me, I've made the decision. And I know what the decision is. I've made it for myself, and I pray that it will be relevant to my family, in particular my children. My wife's Catholic. You know, she's already made her own choices in this life.
His wife. That's why he converted. His wife. Let me say this really quick before I end this video. All right. And of course, there's also one more part that includes the updates. So don't think for a second I've forgotten about this. When Brand ultimately decided to go away from Hollywood and even his initial attempt at YouTube, he eventually quit. Brand eventually found himself away from the spotlight. He eventually found himself meditating. He found himself going into all kinds of new age type things, different types of thinking. And he's always seemed like a very open-minded person, even though he's likes to dismiss people comically, he's much, much more willing to listen to people. If you watch the conversations that he's had recently with Shapiro or even Sam Harris, who I really don't like, several others, including Dawkins, who, oh God, don't even start on Dawkins. He's had several conversations with several different people of different backgrounds, people on the left, people on the right, people with crazy views. It seems to me like Brand is, in fact, very, very much an open-minded person. So how in the world does an open-minded person end up converting Christianity, Catholicism? Well, somewhere in that time frame when he got away, he started seeing a girl who happened to be Catholic. He had his children with her, and he became a family man. So everything that Brand was doing, the lifestyle that he was trying to clean up, which of course he's been living a sober lifestyle from what I've read up on him, from what he says, from what I've been hearing about him, for close to 10 years now, maybe even a little bit longer. Maybe it's been longer than that because what happened with Amy Winehouse seems to be the thing that kind of sent him in that direction. The point that I'm trying to make is that him eventually coming to the realization and eventually getting saved and becoming a Christian, converting to Catholicism, that right there seemed like a natural step. He did it for his wife. You see, you have the manosphere content creators, you have the radical feminists out there, but I do believe that in some cases, a good woman or a good girl can actually change or help. Well, not actually change, but definitely help change certain types of men. That right there is the real reason why it was that he converted. Now, if his belief in God, if you're asking about his belief in God, if he really truly does believe in the man upstairs, My response to that would be that is between him and God. But like I said before, you got to work at it. It's kind of hard. I think in Russell Brand's case, he probably always knew is probably what it was. He probably always assessed. He probably just needed some form of direction to put him in the right place. And obviously, he married that direction. But, as I said with the Nolleray video, I kept on saying track record, track record, track record, track record, track record. I need you to just kind of like let him earn your trust. That's what I would advise. Don't pass judgment or anything like that. Let him earn your trust. It could be a grift, of course, but like I said before, you got to let him earn the trust. And that right there is where I'm going to end the video at. So let me go ahead and give you guys a quick update. I've made a decision, and of course, this is going to go into effect after Wednesday. Unless something is absolutely breaking, I will probably be going back to one video a day. You see, this video here took obviously a lot more work for me. And normally what I do is I normally go do the other things that I need to do, and then I come back, get the data, do the research. It's normally later in the day, and I normally try to put these videos together either late in the afternoon or early in the evening and release them the following day. I want to make sure we got more facts on stuff. So I've actually looked at this and thought about it, and I was like, you know, it would be better for me, and I understand that algorithmically, I'm going to take a hit, at least in the early going. But seeing how it is that we're in spring now, we're going into summer, and of course, seeing how it is that I've got some other things going on, like, for example, I got to go back to the doctor in a week, and of course, I'm expecting something to come down, something that, well, let's just say I expect a date for the problem to officially get fixed. And that right there, of course, is going to probably put me out for a couple of days or whatnot. But being able to do one very, very well edited video per day and getting it released later in the day when most of you guys, because I look at my audience and I see that a lot of you guys are getting off of work. I'm guessing you guys are getting off of work based upon the normal time you guys get to my videos. And I appreciate you guys for sticking around with me as long as you have, and I hope you guys stay with me. I think it's better for me to put together one really, really good crafted video per day that's well edited or better edited. I think that that right there is better for you. I think it's better for me. And I think that it also allows me the freedom to make those other projects I've been talking about, which, by the way, will be released here and also on my account. I've not exactly officially decided exactly how the essays are going to go. What I'm thinking about doing is splitting things up, the media manipulation and crime here, but of course the other stuff on a separate channel. I'm not there yet. We'll have a conversation about it on a later date. I'll probably have an answer for you guys on Wednesday when the Shapiro video comes out, but also something else too that's going to be going on Wednesday is a video on the situation in the Middle East. I don't like talking about the issue that much on this channel, but I'm going to be talking about it on Wednesday because it is, of course, a part of this channel to do pure political takes from time to time. But basically, the idea for the time being is one extremely well-edited video that's put out. And I'm guessing that a lot of you guys have got families and whatnot. And I'm guessing that that's part of the reason why, as I said, you're probably getting off work. And you guys are just now getting to the content late in the afternoon. So expect the videos to get released just a little bit later in the day. I would expect, rather than it being like 1 to 6 or 1 to 5, I would expect something in the ballgame of like 3 or 4 or 6 and 7 or maybe even 8 o'clock some nights. It all depends, and I'll be giving you guys an idea of when those videos are to be released. We're going to be starting that on Wednesday because when that video comes out, it's obviously going to have some updates at the end too, so make sure you guys stick around for that. I just want to go ahead and make this video. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comment section, and remember, make them earn your trust, and I'll see you guys later.